Ask almost anybody about the music industry, and one word always comes up: the Illuminati. Some people laughed at it, some people swear it is real. But whether you believe it or not, you cannot deny that the science seems to be everywhere you look. So, today we are going to walk through one of the most talked about conspiracy theories in music. Some of them have never really have been explained, and by the end of this video, you might be asking yourself some questions you did not have before. Let us start with one of the strongest one. Most people have heard theories about Taylor Swift. Everything from her supposedly influencing the outcomes of major sporting events, the people believing she practiced some form of witchcraft. But the theory that gets the most attention, and honestly the hardest one of these simply dismissed, is the physical resemblance between her and a real woman named Zena Levy. Zena Levy is the daughter of the man who founded the Church of Satan in 1966. She was, by her own account, the first person in history to receive formal Satanic baptism. She eventually left the church in 1990, and she was also, interestingly enough, a stringer herself. Now, nobody is saying these are the same person. Zena is still alive today, but some people believe that the ritual which was performed and that Taylor essentially represents the continuation of that energy into a new generation. The theory gets even more specific when you consider that Taylor was born in 1989 and Zena stepped away from the church in 1990. The timing lineup is a way that strange people find hard to ignore. Add to that the reports from fans who attended Taylor concerts and described feeling like they could not fully example what happening during the show. Like the experience was almost dreamlike. Now, does any of this prove anything? No. Clone theories pop up about a different celebrity almost every year, but the physical resembling between Xena and a young Taylor Swift is genuinely striking, and that part is hard to explain away. The second theory has been around for a very long time, and you have almost certainly seen the symbol of at the center of it, the all-seeing eye. It's showing up on album covers, in music videos, at major award shows. At a strange point, I starting feeling like you could not look anywhere in popular music without seeing. This symbol actually goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, where it was known as the Eye of Horus, a symbol of protection. Later, when the United States was founded, a version of this symbol was placed on a dollar bill, where it still sits today. In 1976, the same year of the United States declared independence, a secret society was being established in Europe called the Order of Illuminati. They used a similar symbol, a dot inside a circle resembling a mysterious all-seeing eye, an unseen power watching over everything. Over time, people began connecting this symbol to a hidden group of extremely powerful individuals, people who illegally use of entertainers, politicians, and media figures to control public opinion and culture from the shadows. Hip-hop artists began talking about it openly decades ago, and some who spoke out about it publicly met with unfortunate and unexposed ends shortly after. Whether that is coincidence or not, the obsession with this symbol of the music industry remains one of the most documented and consistently strange patterns that keeps coming up with no matter how many years pass. The third theory is one of the oldest in the history of music itself, the idea that the devil lives inside strange music. Your grandparents thought Elvis moving his hips was immortal. Your parents may remember people playing rock albums backward, trying to find hidden message buried in recordings. Preachers in the 1970s and 1980s was entire the congregation about strange musicians claiming their music opened door to dark spiritual forces. Back then, artists at least tried to keep their imagery somewhat subtle. It was taboo, and that taboo actually had to sell records. Forbidden things have always attracted attention, but somewhere along the way, this completely disappeared entirely. Some of the most watched award show performances in recent memory have featured openly Dominic imagery, costume set design, Thomas that would have been considered completely unacceptable on national television a generation ago. Not only are these performances shown without any pushback, they are celebrated. Some artists have spoke openly in interviews about feeling like they made a kind of deal in their success, whether they mean that literally as a way of describing a compromise that made with themselves. The language they use is strangely consistent. A few of them have solid in plain terms. I sold my soul and I got what I asked for. Maybe they are speaking in metaphor. Maybe they are being completely honest. Either way, the pattern of language across so many different artists speaking independently of each other is something that is hard to simply set aside. The fourth theory is probably one of the most people have at least heard of, the 27 Club. Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Joplin, Jimmy Madison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, five of the most iconic musicians in history. all got at exactly the same age, 27. The story actually goes back much further than most people realize, all the way to a boss musician named Robert Johnson in the early 90s. The legend around Robert Johnson that he met somehow at a crossroads late at the night and made a deal for extraordinary musical talent. Almost overnight, people who had known him for years said he returned from a mysterious periods away and he was suddenly playing the guitar in a way that nobody around him could understand or explain. He died at 27. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the pattern of gifted musician dying in that specific age has been going on for over a century, and it shows no signs of stopping. And then there are the individual cases that do not fit neatly into the any category, but still leave mysterious questions unanswered. Michael Jackson spent the last years of his life telling people close to him that someone was trying to get to him. His sister has spoken publicly about him, saying it had to do with music publishing rights, that powerful people wanted what he owned, and that he believed his life was in danger. His doctor was convicted in connection with his death, but some people who loved him have never fully accepted that the full story was ever told. Prince died unexpectedly at the age of 57. Initially, there was a confusion about the cause. He had been dealing with chronic pain. But when investigators examined the medication found at his home, they discovered something deeply troubling. The pills were counterfeit. They looked legitimate, but they contained fentanyl instead of the medication printed on the label. Counterfeit pills laced with one of the most dangerous substances on earth, found in the home of one of the greatest musicians who ever lived. How those pills got there was never fully explained to the public. Now, here is the honest truth about all of this. Fame brings enormous pressure, it brings access to drugs and dangerous people. Accidents happen, tragedies happen. Not everything dark that occurs in the music industry is the result of some hidden pain. But what keeps people talking, what keeps these theories alive decades after decades is the timing. So many of these deaths happen right before an artist it was about to reach a new level, or right when they were speaking out against the industry, or right on in the middle of a legal fight over their own music and money. At some point, the pattern becomes impossible to completely ignore. We may never know for a certain what is really going on behind the closed doors of the most powerful place in the music business. But one thing is clear: where there is this much money and this much power, this is almost always something worth questioning.